Hello, y'all. It's Mike from the Mike High Podcast. Coming back to talk to y'all again. Today we want to talk about Karmelo Anthony and the case that just happened in Texas. Before I get into my thoughts on the situation, I want to start off with a news article I ran into about Karmelo Anthony. Karmelo Anthony was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, moved to Texas in 21. He's the oldest of 4 children. Family representatives revealed Anthony attended Frisco Sentinel High School, held a 3.7 GPA as a student. He was a captain on both the school's football and track and field team. Away from school, he worked at a Foot Locker for 2 years, as well as the H-E-B supermarket chain. Anthony had no criminal priors to this before this incident. What happened? On April 2nd, 2025, Anthony and Metcalf, a junior from Memorial High School, were involved in a violent confrontation at a District 11 high school track meet at Cool Kindle Stadium in Frisco, Texas. According to witnesses, including Hunter Metcalf, Austin's twin brother, who was also at the meet, Metcalf allegedly confronted Anthony over his presence in a seating area and asked him to leave. It is purported Anthony stabbed Metcalf in the heart in the ensuing altercation. Metcalf died despite life-saving attempts by police and fire personnel. Anthony was immediately taken into custody and charged with felony first-degree murder. Let's stop there for a second, y'all. Now, first-degree murder, he would have had the known plaintiff defendant beforehand. They would have had to have some priors. It would have had to be premeditated. And as the court case showed, none of that is to be true. I think the case was an overreach. I think he should have been charged with manslaughter and probably convicted of assault first degree. There was no way in the makeup of that town he was going to be found not guilty. I don't believe the parents did themselves or him any favors by not soliciting outside help and refusing the help that came to them from the outside. And then on top of that, they turned down help from the community who was trying to help them. They had black lawyers reach out to them who wanted to help them with their case. But they thought it would be in their best interest to keep the case local. But the case was already national. So it didn't serve them, from my perspective, to try to work with the lawyers from the town who already had an agenda, or at least had to face those same people if Karmelo Anthony was found not guilty. So they had a motive to not want him free. So it would have been in the best interest, from my opinion, of the family to get help from outside of the community, who wasn't tied to the community, who didn't know the DA, who didn't know the judge. That way they couldn't expect no favors, and then at the end they wouldn't have felt any kind of way if Karmelo Anthony was free, because then they would have went to their prospective hometowns. I think they did themselves a disservice by having a public defender represent them who was from the town, who already had ties with the DA. Even if he wanted to be fair, he still would have been questioned by the DA on how are you going to be the guy who's the one to set him free. the makeup of the town where the crime was committed or the incident happened at, makeup is of 0.2% black, predominantly white and Indian, some Hispanic. With that being the makeup, and you don't get no black people or black representation on the jury pool, on the jury, because they had black people in the jury pool. They just didn't allow them on the jury. So if you don't get representation of your own kind in a town that small, how do you see yourself having a fair chance? I believe the cards were stacked against him. I believe it was too much for the family to deal with, and they probably didn't make the best choices in that moment. I also believe the school failed the kids and all, because if it was a track meet set up or a football game set up by the school and it's raining and their school is the only school without a tent for shelter, it's quite natural you're going to seek shelter. And him doing so, he went to a tent where he knew at least one person. I don't think this other guy who unfortunately got murdered, Metcalf, I don't believe he had the right to approach Anthony and ask him to leave. I don't believe that was his position. If they felt he shouldn't have been in that tent, then they should have went to a school official and let that school official handle the situation. But by him taking it upon himself and policing the matter himself, it escalated and went somewhere he wasn't prepared for it to go, because they're both kids. That's why I say the school failed, because there should have been someone there to watch over and protect the kids from themselves in that situation or any situation in general. Because if you leave kids unattended, 9 out of 10, something is going to happen. It may not always happen to this degree, but something will happen. That's being a kid. You do things you don't fully understand, and then later you wish you haven't done that, because you didn't fully understand what you done in that moment. That's part of being a kid. So for there not to be no school official or school representation over the kids, watching over the kids in those moments, knowing that it's pouring down, raining, and the kids is going into other tents because they didn't provide a tent, the school failed them in that situation. The school failed them. You heard what the Anthony's doctor said. Um, Prayers to the Anthony's family. You know, I wouldn't wish that on no one. Prayers to the other family too. You know, they did lose a son. You know what I mean? It's a tragic situation. Either way you look at it, I still believe even in this tragic situation, there's lessons to be learned, and the justice system still failed both parties. To be honest. Um, in part two, we're gonna discuss the true feelings and how they came out after the aftermath. Once again, peace and blessings to the Anthony family. May Karmelo Anthony stay strong and find his way home soon. I want to play something from the parents. They had did an interview with the Breakfast Club. I'm gonna play a part of that, and then we're gonna wrap up. Every day I wake your ass up. The Breakfast Club. Y'all finished or y'all done?
Well, good morning, both of you. Drew and Kayla, thank you so much for joining me this morning. How are you guys holding up?
I mean, right now we're in a nightmare. Doesn't feel real. We've been up all night, praying, waiting for family to come in. We have some family who has made it. We just right now lost for words, waiting for him to give us a call as soon as possible.
So you haven't heard from him just yet?
We heard from him yesterday. He actually suffered from seizures, so we actually have to bring his medicine to the courthouse. So we're waiting for them to give us instruction to get there.
We know Karmelo from the courtroom, but tell us, who is he? What kind of person is he? What kind of son is he at home?
He is a wonderful son,
He's a wonderful student.
3.7 GPA, worked 2 jobs.
I'm sorry, baby, for cutting you off. He was actually taking online classes during all of this and still held a great GPA going through this traumatic time.
He was a kid. My father said he was a captain of his track team, football team. He was working 2 jobs. He actually saved the kid's life. That the mom, he jumped in the pool, and saved the kid's life, which was amazing. I didn't know how great he was until this tragic.
I want to add some things to that. At home, he loves cooking, whether it's in the kitchen, outside, grilling. He makes the best hibachi. He loves running routes and playing soccer with his younger brother, Kingston. He has a brother named Andrew. He's 12, and Andrew is into doing science experiments, and Karmelo loves helping him with science experiments. He loves putting Legos together with his girlfriend. He's just a lovable, sincere child.
Yeah.
You know, do you feel like the world, just going through this trial, got an accurate description of who Karmelo really is?
No, we've come to find out, which we were, before all this, we were a family that basically stayed to ourselves. We were very close knitted. My wife's at home. She stays at home. I was working, and we didn't know how cruel the world could be. They have his face plastered all over. After while he still was a minor. And it was like, everything was happening. We was getting threats. They doxed us. I was so clueless and so involved in work. I didn't even know what doxing was. They put our address online. And so we had people coming to our home, so we never had to leave in our home. Like they had us in some type of protective thing, whatever, to get us, to keep us safe with our other kids. The world right now, it sounds unbelievable, the things that he accomplished before this tragic accident. Like, it will really mess you up. And as me being a father, I didn't realize, like him saving a life, I just, as a father, I got caught up in, hey, that's what you're supposed to do. That's your expectation. Being a man, hey, that's what we do. We move on. Like him working, hey, man, you're supposed to have a job. I was trying to, you know how it is, that young. It was like, with your girl too much, man. You need to get a job, get a hobby. So he's working, but I kept him busy too. And this whole situation, the reality of this is that somebody literally walked in his life. Literally walked into his life. He did everything by the law, and look where we at.
I want to go back to that day. That track meet. Were you guys at the event, at that track meet on April 2nd? No, we were not. I was actually supposed to go to the track meet, but the weather was so bad, I just stayed home. It's like, Mama, don't come. Just stay home. And now, looking back on everything, I wish I was there.